Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of UCRD Reviews. This time we've got a mobile suit from MSV. This is the MS-14B Gelgoog High Mobility type. This is Johnny Ridden's custom model and it's a version anime. Again, this first appeared in Mobile Suit Variations. Johnny Ridden was a Zeon ace pilot and has since appeared in MSVR and a bunch of video games and all kinds of stuff. He's one of the most popular Zeon MSV pilots. But this time we get his Gelgoog in the Robot Spirits line. We've had a Zeonography figure of the Gelgoog. It had an MSIA debut a long time ago. Actually, that MSIA was my very first Japanese import figure that I ordered when I was a kid. It also got EMSIA treatment with an update, and now we have it in Robot Spirit. So it's pretty cool looking. I already like the box. The front has like a Boaku with some Gelgoog cannons and a Rickdom. You have the Zeon insignia there. The back is some of the stuff that are some of the I don't know, accessories, however you want to call it. And then you have a really cool side profile. So let's get it opened up and check out what it comes with. Alright, so let's check out the figure here. So this is Johnny Ridden's High Mobility Gelgoog. It is a straight recolor of the original Gelgoog figure that was also an exclusive, just like this one. So the sculpt is exactly the same. You do have all the thrusters here, the thrusters in the calves there, as well as the feet, all compatible with thruster effects. You have this little piece here to hold the beam naginata, and then this opens up back here to store the backpack and the beam naginata and the shield and whatever else you want. So it's a nice figure. It has all the same features because it's the same figure as the Gelgoog. So the monoline moves. The articulation is pretty good. I mean, nothing to write home about, but it's pretty standard for the anime version Robot Spirits. It has the Zeon insignia, Johnny Ridden's numbers, as well as the Chimera Core insignia on it, so everything looks good. The foot articulation is pretty crazy, just like the original Gelgoog. Lots of torso articulation, so it works well. You'll notice on the back here there's some marring on this little piece. So basically what happened is I was moving the leg around, and this piece decided to pop itself out of place and wedge itself underneath the knee joint, and I had to spend about half an hour and a lot of time nervously trying to pry it out with a pair of tweezers, and I tried to do it as carefully as I could, but looks like I scuffed it up. So there's a quality control issue there, and that you know, it happened on my cold climate GM. If you watch that review, luckily I don't have any super stiff joints like the Zakutsu Kai or the Zeta Plus. So let's move forward with the accessories here. So the first thing we're going to do is make this into a proper High Mobility Gelgoog. So this is the backpack. It has the movable thrusters here, which are also compatible with thruster effects, as well as it looks like these are too, although they're really small. This is the same backpack as the Gelgoog cannons. Of course, it just has, it's symmetrical. These little pieces here are actually removable on both sides. That's the weapon storage. So we're going to go ahead and snap it onto the figure here, and so now it's a proper high mobility Gelgoog. Now we also get, I'm going to move this tray over, we get a hand rack here, which I never use because I keep all the accessories in the box. You have the double trigger finger hands, because Gelgoogs need twice the trigger finger power to shoot their guns or something, who knows. You do get beam Naginata hands that we'll never look at because I can't get it out of the box. There we go. Which are really slanted. You get some posing hands, and you get some more neutral hands. So these are the same hands that come with the Gelgoog, they're just red. You do get a commander type head. So the original Johnny Ridden's Gelgoog line art had this style head. It was later retconned after the 80s to actually have a commander type head, because that makes more sense. You do get a replacement antenna way over here. And in every depiction of him in modern times, it's a commander type Gelgoog, which, given the history of the high mobility Gelgoog, that they were YMS-14S types converted into MS-14B types, it makes sense that they would be commander models, especially given that it's Johnny Ridden of the Caecilia's Chimera Corps. So let's take a look at the weaponry now, because that's where all the interesting stuff is. So first things first, let's look at the beam Naginata. So this is the stored beam Naginata. With the backpack off, it stores just like the regular Gelgoog does. It just well, let's just go ahead and show you. Let's take this thing off. It stores right like that. It can also be stored back here, like so. But we don't need to do that right now. So I'm going to put that back on there. These little pieces come off, so it's just like the regular Gelgoog release. You do have a longer blade, or a longer handle rather, not blade, and you have a really long handle. And you also have an extra one of these in the tray way over here. You do get the same blades as the Gelgoog and Gelgoog Cannon set, and they're also blue, so you have the straight blades and the curved ones. You know, it's funny, none of the figures ever referenced the fact that in Mobile Suit Gundam, Char's Gelgoog seemed to have a metal blade deploy in the anime in some scenes, and I think it was later retconned to be a beam in the movies, but I find it funny that none of the figures ever referenced a TV show depiction of the beam Naginata. So moving on, you do have the shield, which looks a lot better than the regular Gelgoog's shield, and it has the ball-jointed handle here. We're going to remove the backpack again. The shield does store in the backpack, or the back, like so. I believe in my original Gelgoog review, I stored it up and down, which is, I now know is incorrect, because this leaves room for the beam Naginata to store in there, which is pretty cool. So I'm going to take all of this stuff off. This does come with the little buster shield and the 3-barrel grenade launcher that the Gelgoog cannon typically uses. So you remove these, and these will place right onto the arms. Now I don't recall Johnny Ridden's Gelgoog ever using these weapons. He may have used them in MSVR or something. I haven't actually gone through that manga. But they're a cool addition. I mean, why not? We have the beam rifle, which is another recolor, like just about everything else I've showed you. And it looks nice. It's compatible with effect parts. We'll go into my effect parts complaint here in a minute. You do get a giant bazooka, 360mm giant bazooka, which was originally released with the DOM. This is another, just recolor. Front handle moves, the camera moves, this little useless piece here moves. It is compatible with effect parts as well. Again, I don't recall Johnny Ridden's Gelgoog using this, but what do I know? And finally, we have a new weapon, the Shorty Bazooka, which is not quite a giant bazooka, doesn't have the same barrel. It is still compatible with effect parts. It has a rotating forward handle. This little camera pops off for some reason. I don't know if it's even meant to do that. The gun, this was originally released with the EMSIA Gelgoog. It did not come with the MSIA. Oh, lost the handle there. Put that back. It looks really nice. It's a neat little piece. Has the camera painted in there. It's neat to get it. This is the new weapon that it comes with, so it's pretty cool. Now, all the weapons that I have referenced thus far have storage pieces. So we'll start off with the beam rifle. So this is the storage part for the beam rifle, and it attaches like so. So going back to these little red pieces here, you remove that, and the beam rifle will plug right in. The giant bazooka also has a storage piece, and I think it goes on like that, possibly. Yes. And then this one we can put on this side. You gotta straighten out the camera there. So the giant bazooka can be stored. It can really be stored on either side, but you can store it. That's kind of the point. And the little Shorty bazooka, rocket launcher, I guess technically is what it is, can also be stored. I'm going to actually turn this around. It stores something like this. There we go. So you can kind of store them however, it's a little more modular than that, but that's basically how it works. So that's all the weaponry that he comes with, which is plenty. That's pretty much all Johnny Ridden's Gelgoog really needs. But it's really neat that we get it. Now, one thing I'm not going to go over is effect parts. And unfortunately, the reason for that is we don't get any. Just like the original Gelgoog / Gelgoog Canon release, this one doesn't come with any effect parts. Even after we got effect parts with Char's Gelgoog, which looked really nice, they decided to omit them again here. So that is something that I don't particularly like. So Johnny Ridden's Gelgoog ended up being a straight recolor, with a retooled backpack and a new gun. Now, if you've watched my Wetlands type Zaku review, I really got after that figure because it was a rehash, it was a repaint, and it really didn't come with anything new aside from a new gun. And here we have the exact same scenario, and I love it. The difference is, you know, the ground Zaku was supposed to be a slightly different Zaku too, and the Robot Spirits line has always been good about changing slight details. In this case, a recolor was the correct decision, and that's what we got. It came with all the accessories we needed. Now, I don't like that we missed out on effect parts. I think that's a missed opportunity. But what we did get was a really solid figure. Now, mine had some slight quality control issues, which unfortunately is part of these Robot Spirits figures, and I don't particularly like that. But other than that, it's a solid figure. One thing that it did omit that I really don't care about, but it's odd that they omitted it, is the little door that goes on the giant bazooka. The Rick Dom and Dom came with them, and we got a giant bazooka here, but no goofy little door. But otherwise, this is it is an exclusive figure. It is pretty expensive. But if you're able to find it for a decent price and pick it up, absolutely do so. You won't regret it. It's really neat, and I don't know. I think I'm just a sucker for Johnny Ridden's mobile suits. But that's it for the review. Keep an eye out for future reviews. I'm sure I'll have some pop up in January. And thanks for watching.